You're watching The Tesla Life with your host, Mark Coughlin.
We should come running out.
Being all hyped, yeah. Screaming. Price is Right, like, yeah.
I was thinking wrestling, but yeah.
The next contestant is
265. Here we are. It's August 3rd. Another month of summer's gone, people. Don't be alarmed, but it is slipping by. So enjoy it while you can. August the 3rd. Welcome very much. Welcome. Thanks for joining us very much. We've got a lot of news to hit, but first, let's introduce our co-hosts. We have Mr. Casey Green joining us from the DC area. How are you today, sir?
Doing all right. So this week I got to do a little bit of a collaboration with other YouTubers. Not just this one that we do here every week live, but for a pre-recorded video, and that was pretty cool. I was actually first in the chat, but the computer disagrees. I said greetings and hit enter and sent it, and then it said no, Robert's first, and hello, Robert, and then it said, oh, by the way, your message doesn't count for Jack. Hello, Hockey Day, and
so who did you collab with, and when's it go up?
Well, they're traveling right now. I met up with the Test Lucky channel, and we'll see how what we could become of that. We were going to do some more today at lunchtime, but stuff at work broke, and so I had to miss that.
Well, cool.
Yeah, because then we were going to do Auto Park on AP1 and FSD stuff, but broken stuff at work.
Maybe later. Maybe later.
Next time, yeah.
Yeah. Also, Mr. Patrick Connor joins us from the other side of the continent. How are you today, sir?
I'm good. I'm ashamed to say that I've had Tesla batteries for a year, and I just now figured out something about them that should have been obvious. But so I've talked about how we're in the smart battery program, and that lets them use our batteries. It's a virtual power plant. But we're also in our local utilities smart thermostat program. So that smart thermostat program, they try to pre-cool your house so you don't draw as much electricity during the high demand time from 4 p.m. to 7 p.m. Well, because we have this Tesla battery, they can play with the thermostat all they want. I'm off grid from 3 p.m. till 10 p.m. So it doesn't matter what they do to my thermostat. It will not change the grid load.
You're getting extra cooling for free.
Yeah. They're tweaking my thermostat, thinking it's going to do something to my house's load. It's not doing jack.
Yeah, because you're already off the grid, right?
Right.
So it doesn't matter if they turn your temperature down. You're not drawing any extra power off the grid anyways.
Right.
And it's outside of the duct curve, so it's not even like they can count on your extra solar from that space they made your battery.
Right. Yeah. It's just kind of a funny realization that hit me the other day, and I was tweaking the schedule, and like, well, this doesn't matter at all. I'm just gonna set it to 73 or 23, and just leave it there and be done.
Exactly. And just before the show started, my batteries here, they got to full off of the solar, and so they shut off the panels because I'm off grid. And I was like, man, that's a waste. Mark said I should run an extension cord next door. And I
said, knock on the door of your neighbor with an extension cord and say, would you like some fridge power? I got some extra.
I've got a bucket of bits here. Do you want them? Electrons for sale.
It's like the old neighbor that would knock on the door and ask to borrow a cup of sugar. You've got a cup of energy you're giving out.
Yeah.
Exactly.
I made too many of these cookies. You got to have one.
Yeah, exactly. Well, with that, let's get started. Patrick's got our first story about, get this, buying a Tesla on a whim.
That is right. So this is
nice
from
to be
Business
wealthy.
Insider. Yeah. And it's titled, I bought a Tesla on a whim. I love it, but I still take a gas car on road trips, so I don't have to charge. And
if you just buy stuff without researching it, this is the kind of mistakes you make. Go ahead. I'm sorry. Continue.
Well, I don't know that it's a mistake. So that's part of this is a good discussion. So just give a little bit of background. This woman, here's just the bullet points. Her name is Liz. She bought a Tesla Model Y in 2021 while out shopping with her college-age son. She likes the car. She says it's unique and fun, and it's great to not use gasoline for those close to home drives, commutes, and that's where the majority of people's driving is in short trips anyway. And she's installed a charging station in her garage, her own, power wall, or not power wall, but a wall connector. And but when the story came out, and some of the Tesla forums, there were just people ripping on her for being afraid to take road trips with it and falling back on her gas car.
Does she have crippling range anxiety?
And if she does, so be it. I mean, she bought a Tesla. She's using it for a majority of her drives, and this is the conversation I wanted to have. Yeah. So both of you started with Chevy Volts, right?
Right. Yeah, they teach you what you can do with a mile.
Vehicle, right? Yeah. So yes. it gives you that comfort to start with, that you have a gas range extender if you need it. If you want to drive cross country, that you can just fill up at a gas station if you can't find a place to charge. And I started with a Nissan Leaf. I had a truck before that, but whatever. I started with a short range EV, and I had, a short one that had 40 miles, and then one that had 80 miles, which seemed like huge then. But during all of that time, I still had a gas car, and we didn't use it much. We had a Prius for road trips. We had my commuter vehicle, which was the short range electric, and then I had an SUV that we would take if we went camping or whatever, right? And so the fact that she still has this safety net, stop ripping on the woman. She talked about how her daughter loves the car and takes it and is fine doing road trips with it. I'm sure at some point she might, the mother might go on one of those and get comfortable with it, but right now she's not. Yeah. So the fact that people are not willing to jump straight into the deep end and just embrace everything all at once, fine. Let them wade in slowly if that's what makes them comfortable, and don't rip on people who. This is the same thing I was saying last week on the What Drives Us show. Is if you want to join the tent, your reasons don't have to be the same as mine. If you want to step in slowly, you're coming in the right direction, and I should encourage you, not yell at you for not jumping in the deep end. And so as a EV community, I want to embrace people like this. This is how we go from early adopter to the early majority, is by letting people take small steps and encouraging them, not by yelling at them. So that was the reason I wanted to bring it up.
If you yell at them, it's never going to change their mind. And on that same show, I pointed out that not everybody's into EVs for hugging polar bears.
Right.
Don't hug polar bears anyway. They're dangerous.
That's a bad idea.
Metaphorically, yes.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, it is, as somebody who is past the range anxiety, it's a little disappointing to see. But as you're saying, it's better than.
You got to remember, Casey, that you and I
started the easy way.
Had the benefit of having that gas generator to start with.
And then when we hit level 10 and we started cursing the darn thing when it did the maintenance.
And like you said, once we understood how far the car can go, what a kilowatt of energy can do for the car, how far it would get, what the circumstances are when you burn more than you're expecting, you go through a winter, all those things combined into our knowledge that we knew, after a year of ownership minimum, that we could move to a full BEV for our next vehicle. We knew that, but you and I bought the insurance policy having a gas generator that I barely used, but it was
every time that thing came on, I was
able to teach me what was possible, what was not possible, and how an electric car would react to where I live. And this woman, as far as we know,
jumped right in.
she jumped right into a BEV and just kept her gas vehicle to do long trips. Great.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. But the other benefit of it is
if you have those kind of resources, it's great to do. Okay.
Yeah. Absolutely.
Most people have to buy one vehicle to do all their stuff.
Yes.
This woman is fortunate enough to have the financial resources. She could keep a gas car and use it in that way, and more power to her. But it's interesting that her daughter uses the car for long trips.
Right, but she doesn't.
It would be interesting to see if she, as Patrick has mentioned, if she will maybe go on long trips with her daughter just to see how it works, and then eventually ease into that deep end a little bit further.
Maybe. Yeah, so for
Right.
me, I am part of that one car club, and for me, in the wintertime, the Leaf was just too close for my round trip. And then it turns out that that was the right decision, not because I didn't want to be coasting in on E, but because in the climate I would have been driving in, I would have ended up with severe battery degradation from the heat. And
Mm-hmm.
then I would be making payments on a car that I can't actually get anywhere in because I was on the edge of the range. So the Volt was actually the better choice. But well, once you hit level 10 with the Volt, you start cursing it when it wants to do. Oh, it's time for your monthly engine maintenance. It's, no, save that crap. Oh, hey, I've turned the engine on because you're at the end of your range. I'm like, that's the driveway. You don't need to heat up.
Yeah, the funny thing is there's a bias that we all have that once we learn something, even if we just learned it yesterday, anybody that doesn't know it is ignorant and stupid. It's just trying to make everybody aware that there were times when a lot of us who are now all in on EVs, we have only electric vehicles in the garage now, but it wasn't overnight. It took a while to get there, and so allow other people to have that same time, please.
But on top of that, the majority of her trips are fossil free.
Right, exactly. That's where we want to get to. Yeah, and one of the things we often talk about here is if an EV isn't perfect for everything you need, that's okay, as long as you can use it for most things that you need. And then for other times, you can borrow a friend's car or rent a car or do whatever. And that's, I think she's going to find over time that her gasoline vehicle just sits more and more, gets less and less use. And in fact, that's what happened to our SUV that we had. I had to go buy a battery tender for the starter because I used it so infrequently that it wouldn't start.
Right. Well, that's another good example. Like right there, if my first EV happens to be the Aptera that I've reserved, it's not, but if it were, and then we needed to take a road trip, that would only work for like work trips because there's 3 of us and it's got 2 chairs. So that would be a case where if I already had another car like your SUV with the battery tender, why buy another car for those road trips once a year?
Right.
Yeah, it's something that you take for granted after you get by the situation because you've learned it already. And how quick we forget what newbies we were when we started. So
I like Hockey Day's answer there.
Yeah.
It's on the screen.
It's something that everybody has to learn at their own pace and experience it, and then it becomes second knowledge. And as you said, Patrick, we tend to forget what that was like when we started. But that's a good story. A good story about
the newbies
somebody that is learning and is just getting into it. So there's going to be more of those stories because there's a whole group of people that are now starting to roll into this. Because of gas prices, because of what's going on, that EVs are now becoming more and more popular. So I can definitely see that more of this is going to happen. And people are going to hold on to that crutch of keeping that gasoline car sitting in the driveway or off to the side of the driveway as they use their EV. But again, I've seen it happen too, that crutch eventually gets thrown to the side. And you're saying, hey, I've gone through X amount of time with the EV and I'm comfortable with it, and there's no need to keep the crutch. So let's sell it, let's get rid of it, and let's move on.
And they kind of have to get there on their own. You telling them over and over is not going to help.
Right.
They have to feel it, they have to experience it, they have to live that, then get comfortable, and then make that choice.
I've told many people that have range anxiety, I said, you will have range anxiety until you get through your first winter. Then after that, you're set. Like you'll live it every day for the 3 months of winter, and then after that, you'll be fine.
Yeah, the other day I set my charge percentage down to minimum. Turns out that's less than 100 miles range in the Model X.
Yeah, I remember this sweating it in the Chevy Volt when I got down to like 20 kilometers of range left, and now in the EVs I've got now, I don't feel anything at all until I'm under 5. So it's definitely has changed what I feel, problems where problems could exist and where they don't.
Yeah, when it gets yellow on the meter, I start looking for I start doing the mental calculus, and then when it gets to red, I won't leave it wherever I'm going. I won't leave it unplugged.
Unplugged, yeah.
Right.
Yeah, absolutely.
The only other problem I see with this is with the brand she chose to not be jumping in with both feet on all situations. Remember, some of the people in the community tend to get a little zealous, and they need to
Yes.
tone it back a little bit.
Yeah.
If she had done this with a Chevy Bolt or any other car, people are like, oh, I see you can't trust them, blah blah blah, ha ha ha. But with this car, like, oh, yeah, how dare you offend Lord Elon?
Right. Yeah. We're three people that do a weekly podcast about this, and yet we're telling people calm down.
Yeah.
Not everything has to be rage. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, next we're going to get into an interesting article that has actually been brewing on Twitter for the last, I would say, 5 or so days. We started to get reports about the Tesla app being updated in some cases. People that would have more than one vehicle on their app, we're starting to see new options on the vehicle about charging non-Tesla vehicles. And then a day or so later, we got notification that there was this new section where you could actually scan a QR code off of a charger in order to charge. And then we started to get another piece of the puzzle where it was talking about the Gen 3 wall chargers, how they, with a Wi-Fi connection, we're going to be able to allow people to set the price of electricity on that unit, and it would use Tesla billing in order to charge the person who plugged in. So it's not completely done yet, but we now understand that this is going to be rolling out to basically property owners that have 6 destination chargers on their property or more. And it's going to allow them to set the price of electricity they want to charge for those chargers. And it's going to use Tesla billing to bill the person. It can be used to charge a Tesla. It can be used to charge a non-Tesla. Because, of course, Tesla does offer both types of plugs with their Gen 3 wall unit, as well as if someone has something like a Tesla tap or something, they could use that as well. But this is kind of interesting that it could open up some charging to people that haven't had that ability in the past. It also could incentivize some property owners to maybe install an extra few units to get them up to 6, so they can have this capability of setting their own rate that they're going to charge for electricity and having Tesla do the billing for them. So this is kind of interesting. And again, this only relates to if you have a Gen 3 wall charger. You've got to have at this point 6 units on the same property in order for this to happen. I haven't seen anyone that's actually produced an actual QR code to stick onto their unit, but that would be fairly simple, I would understand. You'd have to produce something that's going to be weatherproof if it's, of course, facing the weather or the sun. But it sounds like the procedure is going to be you use the Tesla app, whether you're a Tesla owner or not. You come up to a destination charger, you scan the QR code on the box, and then through Wi-Fi, it's going to enable it to start, and it's going to meter how long it charges that vehicle for, and it's going to bill that person directly through their credit card, which, of course, they've already registered in the Tesla app, just as we all have with our cars. So this is kind of interesting because we have had some property owners in the past that haven't wanted to put chargers at their destination because they felt they didn't want to give away the electricity for free. So now giving them the option to charge for it, and of course you can charge nothing for it too. It's not a requirement, but this is opening it up to some people that maybe want to make this a supplement to their business, or at least get paid for the electricity that's being used in vehicles for charging when someone's on their property or at their retail site. So this is kind of cool.
This is interesting right here because at my grandmother's inn, for instance, they only have like 8 parking spaces, and they've got 2 destination chargers, but they turn them off when they don't have guests with Teslas because they'll find that somebody put it in plug share, and so they'll find they'll wake up and a significant portion of their parking spaces are missing.
Charging, yeah,
they're missing a huge chunk of their parking spaces and paying $10 a car to fill it up. If it's empty to full, and what they're finding is these people show up after the desk closes, and then by the time they're opening up for the morning to serve breakfast, these cars are leaving, but they never checked in. So, I mean, the Teslas have huge batteries, and the electric prices up there are higher, and as a business owner, you do notice it. But so what they do is they have a guest come in and say, "Hey, I got a Tesla," or "Hey, I got a Leaf," or whatever. And okay, they flip it on, no extra charge, but they're just trying to control the freeloaders, and because they didn't advertise it to the public, somebody else did. And in the Tesla app, or on your screen when you go, it says, "Hey, this is for guests only." And like they've had a couple people say, "Hey, I'm really desperate, I can't make it to the supercharger, blah blah blah. Here's $10, can I charge?" "Oh yeah, sure." It covers it. And this is actually something that Patrick and I speculated on during one of the previous Gen 3 wall connector updates. That was when they gave us the ability to filter it out per VIN. So you could say, "Hey, this is my car, this is my spouse's car." And then Patrick and I started wondering, what if you could make some money on this? And Tesla did it so much better than what we talked about.
Right. Yeah, I've got a couple concerns with this, though. Why do I have to scan a QR code? Does this mean that they do not support plug-in charge or Tesla's proprietary protocol to automatically?
I'm hoping it's just like the superchargers, because the supercharger it knows what's going on, and on that one you have to scan it for the non-Teslas.
Right.
And if they already have the VIN filtering, and that doesn't require the app, I'm hoping it's just because this thing isn't finished yet. Because if you have to scan it for a Tesla, that's not a good experience.
Yes, or you have to scan it for non-Teslas. And right now there aren't a lot of EVs that support plug-in charge, so you have to have something for all the existing fleet that doesn't support plug-in charge.
Right. Yeah, if it's just Teslas or if it's all plug-in charge, that'd be great. But if it's just Teslas, that'd be fine. But if everybody has to scan that daggum code, they've misstepped there.
Right. Yeah. What if their phone doesn't have connectivity? What if their battery's dead?
Yeah.
Whatever. Their phone battery in the app.
A lot of these are in a no-cell zone, like deep in a parking garage or on a lake.
And we were just talking about going from early adopters to early majority. You need to make it just work. Plug in and go. And so anything they can do to scanning codes, tapping things, having a bunch of fobs and cards and memberships is a pain. I went through that with the Leaf, and the way the Tesla does things, just plug in and it works so much better.
And that's one of the selling points right there, and not just the superchargers. That when they say Tesla network, Tesla charging network, that includes the destination chargers and the whole not having to faff about with the fobs or the apps or whatever when you own the matching car. If people have to start taking out the apps, like say this thing is baked, and Tesla says, "All right, we're done. This is the way it is." If you have to start taking out your app, people are not going to like that experience.
Yeah, and then the other question I have about this is at a lot of the destination charge locations, Tesla will install non-Tesla charging stations as well, like Clipper Creek.
And that's what they
had.
Yeah, they got a Clipper Creek and 2 Tesla.
Right. Yeah, and they have some math like, okay, we'll install one of those for every 3 destination Tesla, or whatever their numbers are. I don't know. So will their non-Tesla ones also be in this program?
Well, even better than that, the new non-Tesla ones are not Clipper Creeks. They are regular Gen 3 connectors with J1772 handles.
I think they've stopped
that's what Tesla's going to do.
The Clipper Creeks because they have their own J1772 plug available now.
Yeah.
Right.
But in order to be part of this program, the scanning or the actual just plug in and it bills, it has to be a Gen 3 Wi-Fi equipped, and connected to some network model.
And that makes sense
Right.
because the Gen 2, it supported charge sharing between units, but it didn't have any other communication. And the Gen
Right.
1 was, I mean, it was really affordable, but it was literally just an extension cord with a
Right.
GFI
The idea
test.
was to put all the intelligence in the car, and now they're
Yeah,
realizing, well, if we want to support non-Teslas, not all the cars have that much intelligence. So
exactly.
yeah, so now they're migrating the intelligence into the wall chargers.
Yeah.
And there is still a benefit to the Gen 2s and Gen 1s is they can do 80 amps. So if you have an older car like mine or Patrick's, you're not stuck to 48 amps.
Right.
Yeah,
But you can't charge for it.
when I got mine, the Gen 2 was available only. So
Yeah.
I got a Gen 2 unit because it made sense at that time. But you're right. It'll be interesting to see if the scanning is only required for non-Teslas, which you would think that
Yeah.
would be the case because they're so they're so used to the supercharger plug-in and go model.
Right.
Why would they not transfer that down? You would think it would be technically be able to be done without issue.
Even if it's not done yet, but they by the time they call it done, if it's there, I'll be fine. But if it's done and you have to scan codes as an owner,
Yeah, the Tesla community, us entitled Tesla owners are going to be like, what? No way! I plugged in 3 hours ago. You're telling me it's not full already because I didn't scan this thing? It's been sitting doing nothing? Yeah, we're going to flip.
Oh, yes.
They must be doing it the right way. They know us.
Entitlement is a terrible thing, let me tell you.
While we're on this, for the Cybertruck and the Semi and the Roadster, they better bring back 80 amp charging because 48 amps is not going to be sufficient on a 200 kilowatt hour pack or more.
Yeah.
It's going to take some time if they don't.
What's that?
Yeah.
I said, what about the Semi? Do you think 48 amps is enough there?
I don't think so at all. No, and the whole thing about depot charging is, hey, you don't have to install an MCS charger. You don't have to get the electrical connection. You can just leave them overnight, and by the time your drivers get back for their first shift in the morning, it'll be ready. But not at 48 amps.
Yeah. Just kidding. Yeah.
Very good. All right. Next, Casey's got a story about the cloud, an update. Mm-hmm. What is coming on the cloud?
Mm-hmm.
Speaking of Tesla's communicating, Tesla has started rolling out and mentioning that they've started to roll out the cloud profiles. So certain features like your presets and your premium radio logins like Spotify and what do they call it now? Live by Live? No, they renamed it again.
Tidal.
Live X1 something. Tidal, Netflix, Disney Plus. But basically the Tesla streaming app was the one I was trying to, whatever they've called it now. They keep renaming it. And all of that will be stored in your profile. And now your profile will be stored in the cloud. So if you get into a Model Y and then you get into a Model 3, your mirrors will adjust and they'll match. And what I was talking with Mark before the show is that it'd be nice to see the when they do give you loaners instead of Uber credits, that it'd be nice to see them give you app access now too. So this will be fully utilized because how many people do Turo or have multiple Teslas at their house?
Well, here's a question: what if you have a Model 3, but you rented a Model Y? Mm-hmm. When it comes to mirrors and seating position, isn't that going to be different?
Yes, but I'm wondering if they could formulate how much to change it on average, and then once you set it for a Model Y, they'll say this is the actual Model Y setting, and this was what we pre set it to. But obviously, Model X or S would not translate to the smaller cars.
Yeah,
but they could be the same thing there too.
Yeah, once you set it for that specific model, it remembers it for that model. But other things, a lot of things like your favorite radio stations or whatever, your Spotify channels or logins and passwords for Netflix, or whatever. A lot of stuff could just automatically happen, and that would be nice. And then if you have to tweak the mirrors and seats a little bit one time, and it remembers it from then on.
Even if it can get close, to get me in the zone, and I don't have to go as far as like, get the seat part right, get the back, get the height. Oh man! Also, when they finally convince you, either by illegitimately holding back features like rolling up your windows. My car can roll up the windows. I got a third-party app, and they go up. So I knew they were lying to me.
Yes, they are.
And my remote Sentry View, yeah, that my exact same MCU as a Model 3 that's older can do, but mine can't. Yeah, but anyway, if Tesla thoroughly incentivizes you legitimately or just by making you mad to upgrade to the next car, then
Coercion.
Right, coerces you to getting a new car before you're ready. Patrick's stronger than me. He'll probably keep the Model X longer than I will.
As a shareholder, I support this.
But either way, so after they convince you for any reason to get a new car, now everything moves with you. So you're having to go through and reset everything again. Because the last time I switched Teslas was a pain. It took me about 20 minutes to get everything changed over, not counting the mirrors and the seats. Just the way
I am going to say that this is part of Elon's evil plan to yet reduce the car's buttons even more.
Yes.
So that he can say, you know what? No one's ever adjusting it. They're just using their cloud and it going to the new car. They're not even touching the buttons in their new car. So the next car coming out, no buttons on the seat whatsoever.
You have to do it through the app.
Exactly.
Move
Please
the
take me forward, one forward.
Yes, yeah.
Oh, nobody uses this because it's on the third page of the app. So we removed those features.
That's right. That's right. So beware. Get out there in your driveways and adjust the seats all the time so we can save those buttons.
Open and close the frunk so they don't get rid of that.
Exactly.
I've made a Lego Mindstorm bot that's just out there doing that all the time.
He's adjusting all night long.
Well, don't forget though, there's an update where if you do it too much, they lock it out for a couple minutes.
What?
Yeah.
All right, then I got to go.
Don't want
write
to
some
burn
more
out the
code
motor.
to put in.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And they're going, who is this guy in Portland that is constantly adjusting his seat all night long?
Trying to bring up the averages.
He's a ringer.
Exactly. Also, this is going to be in 2022.24.
Oh yeah, I didn't say the version.
another option within this as well. Apparently, is going to be the side view mirrors are going to be able to be moved now. You won't have to keep it in the corner it's at. You'll be able to move them around.
Oh, you're talking the blind spot.
Yes.
You can move it to on the Model 3 and all the landscape screens. You move it to the left where the speed and all that is, and they'll move out of the way. Or you can go lower, or
yeah. So that's another.
It's at the bottom left now in the U.S., and this lets you move it to the top or to the top,
or the top
and to
left.
the right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The top and left, right?
It's in the bottom left. Yeah,
oh, you're saying you go straight up and then go over to the.
Yeah,
Okay,
you could go straight up or you go up and over.
Yeah.
Yeah. So there's 3 spots now instead of just the one. So you can't quite put it anywhere, but having it up higher is a great. That's where it should have been in the first place, as far as I'm concerned.
So Patrick's moving his day one. We can see that now.
and now that you can move it, there's yet another reason why I don't deserve a blind spot monitor. Because even though I have the cameras and the feed, when I'm in reverse parking, it's too hard for them to figure out where to put it on the screen because my screen goes like this, not like this.
That screen is huge. There should be lots of room for
that was
on there. Yeah.
That was a reference to Silicon Valley.
Silicon Valley, yes.
That went right over my head. Boom. Didn't even know
Actually,
that.
my doors do go like this and not like this.
That's right. Yeah.
Actually, I got them both.
One of the billionaires wanted a car with the. I almost said falcon wing, but it was gull wing doors.
Gull wing doors, yeah.
Yes.
Sorry, that was a little bit insider, but it was fun.
Insider
Club.
The Trescamas Club, yep. Take us away, Mark.
Next story we've got, it's going to be shared with a photo so you can understand what I'm talking about. So we're going to share this
is
right
visual.
Here. And this is the new Tesla Cube, is what I'm calling it.
It's built by Boxable.
This, of course, is a modular box that is being brought out to a supercharging station in Germany. And this is kind of, in this case, does contain some vending machines, some washrooms, and a seating area. So this is something new that Tesla has paired up with this company to actually, I guess, bring some amenities to people that are in kind of a remote supercharger location that doesn't have anything but a parking spot. So this is a kind of a great little idea to allow Tesla owners to have access to some facilities that don't currently exist. Being able to bring out some shelter and some food options, even just in a vending machine. And of course, a clean washroom is a great benefit to a supercharging station that doesn't have these amenities. And Tesla is testing this out in Germany with a couple of locations to see how it works and if it makes sense for what they're trying to provide their customer.
I like the pizza ATM.
So they said vending machines, but I want to clarify that this is just not
Not like
stale
Coke and
food
candy,
in
yeah.
bags kind of stuff. These are high-end vending machines. They had vending machines like this at Kettleman City when I stopped there. They work with local groups to put in fresh food. They have fruits and salads and things in there. Nice sandwiches. So it's don't expect that you're just going to get Doritos and a Coke.
Old Doritos and a Coke.
Right.
Yeah. So I was gonna say this looks like a nicer version of the one that Kyle visited, but he actually visited this one too. So it looks like maybe the first one he showed off was like a prototype or something, and then they made them nicer. This one looks sharp. I would be glad to see this instead of some of the deserts that the US
there's certainly superchargers that could benefit from this. There are many of them that are with very sparse conditions around them.
Anything I've rated a 6 or lower needs this.
Yeah, like having this would certainly be a benefit to a number of them. And of course, the modular design would allow them to move it if it's no longer required at a location,
Exactly.
or if one location maybe requires 2 of them instead of 1 of them, they would have the flexibility of moving these units around, because I imagine they just load on a semi and they drive them out to the site and make sure that the plumbing works, and that's right. And then they're placed.
Well, they could be self-sufficient plumbing, like that'd be cool tw So for those of you who don't get the reference, I go around and I review superchargers, and COVID really put a slowdown on that, but I give them a rating from 1 to 10, and so I'm saying anyone I've rated a 6 or below, if it had one of these, it'd probably be a 10.
And you can find that on YouTube at Casey Green. It's KACEYGREEN. Do check it out. Yeah.
Exactly.
Under the playlist marked Supercharger Reviews.
Yeah, you jokingly said this is in a partnership with Boxable. It does look like a Boxable, but I don't think it is. Boxable,
I don't think it is.
Right?
No,
it's a German company. Yeah.
Okay. And then one of the articles that I saw, they were calling it a BK Lounge, which I thought, was that the name of the company? No, that's a joke from Dane Cook days, talking about where he worked and how he tried to make it sound cooler. It was by calling it the BK Lounge. It was,
but it is called the BK World Lounge, so I could see them just dropping the word "world." Yeah.
So is BK World the name of the company?
I think that's the company that produces the modules.
Okay.
Maybe. Or that Tesla's in partnership to install these for.
You can see right there, BK World Lounge.
Oh, yeah. It is not just a joke. Okay. Yeah. Right.
But if you drop the word world, then it's a joke.
Well, Burger King is an international company. So
Exactly.
Except in Australia. Then you get Jack's or whatever it is. Hungry Jack's?
Right. Yes.
And we've got a great dovetail, because we've got another story next about a German supercharger. And this one requires a visual aid as well, which we will share here right now. And if your eyes are playing tricks on you, no, that is a pool at a supercharger with the word Tesla on the side of it.
Is it a hot tub?
They call it a pool. It's the size of a hot tub, or an extra large hot tub. I
was thinking Germany and the way that sometimes they are a little bit more freer with their bodies than the US.
It kind of looks like an infinity pool in my eyes.
A little bit, yeah.
It looks like it fits on the back of a trailer, and that they can just slide it right off and drop it and go.
It looks like a half of a 20-foot container, yeah.
from the corrugation on the side of this, it looks like it is a container.
Yeah. There actually is a company that does these. Instead of you getting the fiberglass drop-ins, they make a shipping container drop-ins for your upscale homes. And so, what's to say you have to bury it?
Now, after I saw this, I was thinking, oh, it's kind of interesting. They're trying this out at a supercharger, but I thought, I don't think I'd want to get in a pool for a 20-minute or 30-minute supercharge, because when you get out, you're wet.
Yes.
You're going to have a wet bathing suit. You're not going to really want to sit in your car again, like right away.
Right.
That's kind of problematic, I thought.
That's why I think it's a good trial for Germany.
Whatever keeps the kids distracted.
Yeah, they have the reputation for being a little more friendly with being packed closely together in small pools.
So interesting. So they have the superchargers that are prefabbed with the slab, and they can just drop them in pretty quickly. And now this BK World Lounge, which looks like it comes off the back of a trailer, and now this pool. So if the conditions are right, overnight you could have supercharging, lounge, and recreation, and then
they just show up. You wake up and they're there.
Yeah, exactly.
Because they're all prefab.
Right. And then
I'm waiting for the mini putt to show up.
Right. Yeah. So if you have regional events happening, you can just move these around to wherever they're needed.
Yeah, at an event this makes sense. I don't understand why you would need a pool, because as Mark said, you're gonna get out and now you're wet.
Yeah, and they'd have to have a lifeguard on duty, because you can't just have a pool with unsupervised. That's just not going to work.
And who's going to pay a lifeguard to be there at 3 a.m.? Really?
Maybe you don't need a lifeguard in Germany. And also, I'm thinking, it is Germany, so maybe you just have to dry your body, because you don't wear clothes when you get in the pool.
Do we have anybody from Germany in the chat who can confirm Casey's allegations?
I'm not saying that they're all this way, but I do know that it exists.
Yeah,
I don't know how common. I don't know how common it is, but I do know it exists and is a thing.
Exactly.
Because one of the things that I mark superchargers down for is when they have like the sports trough urinals. It's like I'm not that up and close personal with these strangers, so give me the partitions.
Well, after that story, I don't know where we're going, but I got no
further in the gutter.
But how do you segue off of naked people?
Oh, I'll tell you what. How about naked senators swimming in the pool?
Okay, we
Congress.
can go there. We're going to talk a little bit about the EV tax credit that Patrick's going to tell us is apparently almost there.
That is right. So you can find a lot of stories talking about this. This one's from Drive Tesla Canada, and it's titled "U.S. EV Tax Credit Survives in New Bill and Gets Bigger." Yes. So if you've been into EVs for a while, you know that in the U.S. we had a $7,500 tax credit, and after a manufacturer hit 200,000 vehicles, that started phasing out. So Tesla and GM have already phased out of these credits. They're gone. And Toyota, I think they've hit their 200,000 and are phasing out.
They're starting to phase out for Toyota.
Yeah, so they're in the middle of their phase out, so they've already hit the 200K cap.
Wondered.
And Nissan's pretty close if they're not already there.
They haven't hit it yet, amazingly, after 12 years.
Yeah, they were going strong, and then
they
Carlos
tripped.
Ghosn left, and the Leaf has had issues, and anyway, if we really want to incentivize EVs, a tax credit like this is really helpful. And as part of the Inflation Reduction Act of 2022, there was money allocated toward this, and it's not exactly the same as the program that we've had, but a lot of this is still up for debate. It's not finalized yet, but in the current draft, as of this writing of this article, the cap is removed, but there are other changes, like there are caps on which vehicles qualify. It has to be $55,000 or less for a new vehicle that is a sedan or a car, but up to $80,000 for pickups, SUVs, and vans. Now, what qualifies as an SUV nowadays is very open-ended, so I don't know. Like, is the Model Y an SUV, a crossover, a hatchback? So good luck figuring that out. There are also income restrictions on the new version, where the old one did not have income restrictions. So single buyers to qualify have to have less than 150,000 AGI or 300K for joint filers. So if you're doing really well financially, you're not going to be able to get this money. There's also a provision for a used vehicle. And again, like I said, details are subject to change. One of the things in here is that you can only use it every 3 years. So I've used it for the Leaf in both Teslas. So I've used this 3 times. Mine were spread out. It was 2011, 16, and 18.
Oh,
so
I smushed them together.
Yeah, I don't know how that worked. Could one of them been under my wife's name and that qualify? I don't know. So
if you do your taxes separate.
Yeah. So this looks like it's going to be a good thing, and slightly different than what we've had. The used vehicle credit that's in here for $4,000 is really an interesting one. My understanding is that a vehicle can only qualify for that one time, so it's not like you could just keep selling it and have the same vehicle getting a credit over and over and over again.
Also, the income cap cuts in half on the used car.
Does it? Okay.
Yeah.
And used vehicles, that's a huge market. That's what most people buy a lot. The used vehicle market is a lot bigger than the new vehicle market. And so having a tax credit there is a great idea. And the other thing that is kind of cool here is the way the current system works. You have to do your taxes to get the credit. Well, you can transfer the credit to the car dealership or whoever you're buying it from. And Tesla does qualify as a dealership under the definitions they have in here. It's really just anybody that's licensed to sell vehicles. And then you can get it as a price off of the price when you buy the vehicle instead of waiting until you do your taxes.
That's a big plus if that is to survive. It's something that everyone enjoys instead of having to do it later and qualifying later and after you bought the car, wondering if you're going to get the full tax credit or not. This is much better. That it just comes right off. They do the initial check, and if everything is good, it comes off your price.
If you're on a fixed income and you don't qualify for it, your car dealership sure will. So the overall, I like what they were trying to do. I like what they put out. The ones that concern me are the income cap for the used cars, and the way the dealer assignment goes. Can they make sure that the dealer's not going to just steal it? Like, oh, market adjustment. Oh, and thank you for the tax credit. This is ours.
Yeah, if they just mark up the price an equivalent amount, that doesn't help get more vehicles in customers' hands. Yeah.
Right, or if they just list it as a fee, that this is ours. We're not going to raise the price. We're not going to lower the price. We're just going to take your tax credit.
Right. Make sure you're negotiating the price without the credit and then actually getting that discount.
Yeah. Exactly.
Dealers are never slimy and do horrible things like that. Casey, what are you talking about?
Not all of them, because you got people like me, but there are enough of them that they earned this stereotype.
Yes.
Yeah, and it's not retroactive either. So if you get this passed, it will not start until the new year. So there may be, if this does get passed, there may be a bit of a blip in time, maybe a quarter, where people are hesitant to buy the new vehicle because they know as of January 1st, this new credit would be available. So we'll have to see if that happens. But what I find amazing about this whole thing is that this credit has been wildly different from start to this point in it, and most likely until it crosses the finish line at some point later this year. So this is something that's in motion. and you can't take any of it as gospel until it actually crosses the finish line, because as we've seen, changes happen, and they happen quite a bit.
Up to the midnight
Right.
hour.
There was a union clause in earlier drafts.
Right.
This actually has some clauses for what percentage of what minerals come from where, and that it changes each year progressively. So yeah, there's lots of details that are not yet all fully ironed out that are interesting to follow. And I've purposely I'm kind of glossing over a lot of these because there's, like you said, they're subject to change. So I mean, yeah, we could go into minutia about it, and then tomorrow they write it out. So what was the point?
Well, a couple of things I want to point out there on the question of how is it going to affect volumes. Right now, the way it is written is it doesn't replace the current system until it goes into effect, and then it replaces what's there. So it's only going to potentially hurt Tesla and GM. Tesla and GM are currently still kind of just doing this with their price, except for the Bolt, which is going the other way for some reason. So in that case, I would still say if you have your mind on a Tesla, just order it now and then just hope they keep raising the price. And if they don't, you're only out $100. But all the other manufacturers, including Toyota, they haven't run out yet. So they all have their 3/4 drawdown. So unless you are trying to buy your Toyota for Christmas time, I don't know if they'll be out by then. But if they're not, then you're still fine. Just do it. But at that point, the only people who are affected are you have to file for the credit after the fact, and you can't assign it to the dealer. So mostly it only affects Toyota and GM, and it doesn't work on used cars yet. Also, if you have your car ordered now and they don't deliver it until 2023, it doesn't count. So we got to look and see how they by delivery date. But they also they specifically call that order date. So we have to look and see what they consider to be an order, because right now Tesla is just a reservation, and that might be for a reason.
Interesting.
But again, it's only $100 of a non-refundable, and I'm sure once this hits, Tesla might be a little more flexible with moving your order to a new car at that point at the same price. But don't count on that. And as we keep saying, if you see a Tesla that has what you want at a price you want, just get it now, because they'll move it. This will change stuff, and it's not always in your favor in the future. So,
yeah.
Good advice.
Good advice. Next, speaking of the future, let's take a look at this here. Got a couple photos of a Model 3 that's been heavily modified on the exterior.
Oh.
And this, of course, is May the 4th be with you. This is a gentleman that did a lot of murals of Star Wars on his Model 3. Which is and you can see him on Twitter at Star Wars Tesla and Instagram. I believe he has an account there as well. But a lot of work done to the hood, the sides, the back. I don't know if this is paint or if this is some sort of a wrap that's been added. I'm not sure. I don't think I've ever seen a wrap that is this detailed, because you can see the lasers, you can see the Hoth, the AT-ATs running across the surface of Hoth, firing at snow speeders in that photo, and of course a number of the film's stars put on the hood with the May the 4th be with you. And
Very
I don't know what this is. You guys know what this is? This is some sort of lettering on the hood that looks in an alien language. I do not know what it's for. I'm wondering if there's a connection to Star Wars. I just don't know if there is.
Possibly.
Oh, I just failed the nerd test. I don't. Someone in the chat, tell us.
I'm in the other space franchise.
So, Mark, you said, speaking of the future, I have to say that car is from long ago in a galaxy far, far away.
Right.
Thanks, Patrick. I was trying to move it into what we were talking about. Yeah, okay. Yeah, thanks for ruining that. That's appreciated. Oh, man. You try to do something.
Segue fail.
Doesn't work.
Well, at least you weren't insulted
I'm not going to create a segue for this one. This is just Casey's. Go ahead, Casey. Take off.
At least you weren't insulted on the segue. You know, that's Russell's favorite thing. Just
I was just trying to
put down Mark.
Yeah.
So Mississippi has welcomed their first Tesla store in. It used to be a courthouse fitness and rehabilitation center for the U.S. Marine Corps. And
What city is it in?
that's what I'm looking for.
Brandon.
Brandon, Mississippi.
Brandon.
Yeah, which is an eastern suburb of Jackson.
There you go. Tesla brought them Christmas in July, the article says. Yeah. So
So
now
this
you
is
don't have to go so far.
The first location in Mississippi. So
Yes.
again, way down south, Louisiana, Texas, Mississippi, not as much of an oil state. I understand there is some oil, but more like off the shore of Mississippi in the Gulf Coast. But this is good. This is progress. More and more access to the car, less distance having to travel to purchase, to service. It's going to be some wins for Tesla lovers in the South. So that's good news.
The Southeast has been a little allergic to Tesla.
Yeah, I'm wondering, is the local dealership association suing Tesla in that state?
Probably.
Or did they wait until the lawsuit's over to open this?
Oh, could be that. That's not exactly what it was.
Yeah.
Yeah, the article didn't mention that, but that has to be a factor. One way
and of course, this late in the game, right? Like a lot of markets have been covered. This is one of the outliners, a state that had no store whatsoever. So first store, break the ice. Let's hope a few more end up in Mississippi, and it starts to catch on.
Yeah, dealers are really strong with their local governments, but they seem to be a little stronger in the Southeast for some reason. So, like in South Carolina, for instance, they can't have a store and they can't have a service center. So, right on the border, it's a service center in Georgia.
Right.
Yeah.
So hopefully this can redefine what "Let's Go Brandon" means.
Exactly. Another couple firsts. We've got our first batch of Model Ys have hit the country of Australia. So a number of Australians have been waiting for their Model Y a long time, and they are now starting to flow into that country. So congratulations to Australia, starting to get their first Model Ys, and I'm sure we've got a lot of happy reservation holders that are starting to get their vehicles after this incredibly long wait. And that's another plus as well. And of course, our last first of the evening is again another group of people waiting that have been told December of 2022 the Plaid Model X's and S's will start to hit Europe. So Fremont is producing the S and the X exclusively, and I guess they've filled a number of orders that have been close to home throughout the US, Canada, and now they're pushing out beyond. So Europe is going to start to receive these cars in December of this year, and we've got a lot of people that are anxious to get these cars as well. So congratulations to Europeans waiting for these vehicles. The wait is almost over.
Yes, for those of you on audio, Hockey Day said we would have had them sooner if they drove on the right side of the road.
I've always made the assumption, and I guess incorrectly, that Hockey Day was in Canada.
He is. He's in Canada. He's in Sarnia.
So that we would have had him sooner. He's talking like he's an Australian.
Yeah.
Australian or European.
Yeah.
Actually, it doesn't say UK. It says European, and those are typically left steering. When they say European, and then they call out UK.
That's the thing with Britain and the European Union is when you cross the channel or you go by ferry, when you get to the other side, you got to switch lanes of traffic, right? You've got to go to the other side of the road. So talk about confusion. Getting into another country and all of a sudden you're routed on the other side of the road.
If they would ever stop outlawing FSD features, the car would know what to do.
Yeah, I've driven on the other side of the road, but in a car with the steering wheel on the other side, and so somehow my brain was able to just make that work. But if you drive to another country, then you don't have that. That would be really hard.
Then it's two things you got to get used to: the other side of the road, and you're on the other side of the car when it comes to that side of the road.
Yeah, because either way, if the car is made for that country, the driver is near the center line, and so that's just what I would use to calibrate myself. But if I had to drive from the other seat, I don't think I could do it.
Exactly.
Imagine being in some of those countries that did the changeover, like the 1 day changeover over the weekend. Oh man, that's gonna be tough.
Everybody drives in the middle. It's a mess.
But then, as Patrick said, then your seat is still in the wrong spot.
Right.
Yeah.
Unless the seat was in the right spot and they finally fixed the country.
Right. Yeah. Well, 5 years before, we'll start bringing in cars with the wrong side.
Yeah, something like that.
Very good. Very good. Well, everybody, thanks very much for joining us this week. I think that wraps up the news. Casey, any shout-outs for the end of the show?
Yeah, as Patrick said, visit me at youtube.com/Casey Green. That's KACEYGREEN. You can catch the podcast version of this, the audio podcast, over at CaseyGreen.com. And Patrick's going to tell us about what kind of feature we're bringing in.
That's right. Yes. Casey talks about it. I blog about it. It's a future free from fossil fuels. And the Oregon City of Eugene has actually passed some legislation now where you can't have fossil methane, aka natural gas, in new construction. Even though that was fought by their local methane provider, they overcome and won, and so that we're getting there slowly but surely, taking small steps. For my shoutouts, I did just a little trip summary here. We drove to Corvallis and back from Portland, and it's about 80 miles each way, and so I was able to do it round trip without ever stopping to charge, and that just made it so much easier to have that long range. Was really cool. And there was where I could have charged, but being able to so for Liz back there, it doesn't just have to be to the grocery store and back or the gym and back. You can actually put some miles on, which is nice. And another driving around, there's a new supercharger station in Troutdale, which is along 84, which is in the Columbia Gorge. It's at the Gorge Outlet Mall, and it's got 12 stations. We were driving by. I didn't need to charge, but I just wanted to go check it out. I hadn't seen that one before. When I got there, it was full, and there was a Model 3 waiting. So all 12 were full with a car waiting. That's the first time I've seen that in Oregon, ever. And on 84, it's one of the bigger roads. There's Interstate 5 and then 84 are probably the two biggest. And so it's at a spot where there's a lot of traffic there. So
and was that a weekday or a weekend?
That was a weekend. Yeah.
Yes. Somebody here got the message on their screen rerouting you to an alternate supercharger so you don't have to wait. I was like, wow, that's cool.
Yeah, it did not give me that option. Although when I put in that destination, it started preconditioning the batteries, and then I got there and said, "Oh, I guess I don't need it. Cancel, drive," and just went home. So it preconditioned for nothing.
Right. Also for Liz, on our last long distance trip, we never actually made it to where the car wanted to supercharge. Like all the whole time, one of the three of us had to go to the bathroom, and we would just top it off, and then we never needed to actually make a stop for supercharging because every time we stopped to go to the bathroom or get food, it was just boosting it, and that was all we needed.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah, the bladder range.
Yeah.
As long as the vehicle range exceeds the bladder range, you're covered.
The bladder range is different than the electronic range. Exactly.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. And when you have bladder range anxiety, you're fidgeting in your seat.
Yes. Hoping there's no traffic, hoping there's not a line when you get there.
I think you'd be happy to use one of those stall urinals then, Casey.
Yeah, you use anything at that point.
They still slow you down. You got stage fright. Hockey Day pointed out that the semi has the driver in the center, and maybe that's why. I like
that way they
can
just sell it in any country without worrying about it. That's pretty clever.
That's what the 1,200-mile diesel guy does, right?
That's right.
Oh yeah. Does anybody setting one of the Cannonball Run records? They're adult diapers. Okay, so my final shout-outs. I blog at carswithcords.net. Check it out. And I am with the Oregon Electric Vehicle Association. You can find us at oeva.org. Thanks.
Very good. Very good. Well, thanks everyone for watching. If you haven't already, give us that thumbs up, press that subscribe, helps us out, doesn't cost you a dime, supports the channel. Thank you very much. We will get together next Wednesday, and together we will find out what is happening in the Tesla life.
Check out the Tesla Life Twitter at the Tesla Life.
Thanks, Lee Moon.
Stay positive, test negative.